Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the always online multiplayer gaming podcast brought to you by mmorpg, your home for all things multiplayer related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka Matchman, as always, and this is episode 471. Of course, we're doing the show live, twitch.tv/mmobomb, and you never know what's going to happen in pre-show or post-show. Today, for all of our lovely viewers in chat, we have some keys from the Frozen Flame team, so thank you so much for sending them over. We've got some free Steam keys. We gave out one pre-show. We're going to give out about 3 or 4 after the show today. So if you're watching on YouTube, on mmobomb.com, listening on Spotify, iTunes, and all those fun stuff, we definitely appreciate it. Give it a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, turn on notifications, whatever it is to feed the algorithms on whatever platform you're watching. But if you can join us, do so. Twitch.tv/mmobomb, 1 p.m. Eastern every Friday. We got a lot to go over today. Lots of fun news, lots of things upcoming, some pre-installed already, at least on my machine, and some that we've played on launch day yesterday. Joining me to go over all of it, Ms. Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
Not a lot. It's been a very sleepy kind of 2 days here because it's just so cloudy, rainy, and you just want to go nap.
Yeah, see, it was beautiful here all week and then started raining today, and it's supposed to do that all weekend. So I guess I won't be cutting the grass like I had originally planned.
No, it's a sleepy weekend for you now, Mike.
It is a sleepy weekend for me. Wake up, do gaming gumbo, and then go back to bed.
Exactly.
Also on the line, the noob fridge himself, Mr. Troy Blackburn, and it looks like you're performing surgery behind you. What the hell is going on back there?
My office chair is in pieces on the ground behind me. It needed fixing, so I've been fixing. I'm just waiting on a part from Amazon now, unfortunately.
What are you sitting in there, brother?
My little folding camping chair that I go fishing in.
Please tell me it's one of those ones with the cup holder in the arm, the mesh hanging cup holder.
It's got like a whole table out to the side that comes out.
Oh, wow.
It's got like
fancy.
Yeah. It's
he
from Bass Pro Shop. It was from Bass Pro Shop. It's expensive.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around, man. He's like, get my little table, get my little beer holder.
Does it have like a thing to put the fishing rod in so that the chair just holds it for you and you don't have to mess with it?
No, I have special fishing rod holders.
He's like, I got equipment for that. I didn't have to buy the super expensive
I got some gear for that.
I already had some. Well, we got a lot to cover, so I say we just get right to it. Here we go. Magic Slinky in chat. Yo, best in slot foldable chair. Got it.
Yeah.
Got my BIS. My best in slot foldable chair. Okay, so we're just days away, and I know, Q, this isn't one that you're particularly amped up for, but Troy and I really amped up for it. I thought the whole shooter thing, was going to kind of keep you away of Redfall.
Team shooter, yeah, but it is single player multiplayer.
True.
Right? And it's story based and it's very secret worldy.
We hope so. Yeah, we hope so. The launch trailer's out.
Yes.
The launch trailer's out. There's a whole, if you haven't watched it yet and you're like a simulation game person, then you'll probably notice there's a few Easter eggs in there. Obviously, 0415 or 0451, I can't remember off the top of my head, makes an appearance here right off the beginning, peeking at the map and when meetings will take place. So there's some cool little Easter eggs in it. And I gotta say, at least in my opinion, this is the best video for Redfall that we've seen in a long time.
That's what I was gonna say. This is one of the most hyped up videos that I've seen out of them in quite a while now.
Yeah,
they weren't playing.
Q, you like the music in particular.
Well, Black Hole Sun is one of my absolutely favorite songs anyway. So I mean, it's just perfect for a vampire thing too, right? Like the entire theme of it and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I really kind of want to play it, but I don't know if it's like $70 want to play it.
Right. I mean, that's where Troy and I were at. We're like, God, man. Oh, thank God it's on Game Pass.
Game Pass.
Whew. Dodged a bullet there. It's already installed. You can go install it now. And if you've pre-ordered it, obviously you can go install it now. The client is ready for installation. But there are, as good as this trailer is, and May 1st is the day. Well, it's technically May 2nd is the global launch, but the way the map works out, it'll be like evening May 1st, 8 p.m. my time, I'll be able to play. Well, in theory, I'll be able to in theory, I'll be able to play. So looking forward to maybe hopping in there sometime Tuesday. I'm not going to be able to do Monday. I'll be at Final Fantasy TCG Locals, but maybe I'll sneak in there late at night on Monday. Give them a little bit of time. As good as this trailer is, as interested as I am in the game, there are still problems, Troy. Like, we talked about the console version not having the 60 FPS performance until after launch, and there's actually been pictures online of some console copies of the game on the Xbox, where if you flip it over, in the features section, they do have 4K 60 frames per second as like one of the features in the game. Some of those copies of the game have also had a little sticker placed on them on the outside of the cellophane that says 4K 60 frames per second not available at launch. But not all copies. So it's a little weird on that front. We also saw this week, yesterday or the day before, the PC specs. Like, there's 3 different tiers of PC specs, and 100 gigs is a lot of space. Those playing the new Jedi game already know the limitations, the size caps on these. What I thought was really interesting about the specs, though, Troy, and maybe I'm wrong and you can correct me. Although they list like a minimum, a recommended, and a, hey, this will be ultra performance, right? And they break down these 3 tiers of specs. They then don't tell you the expected performance out of those 3 levels of specs. Like, there is no indication of, hey, if you're running minimum, this is, going to be your caps for different performance metrics. And if you're running maximum, these are going to be the caps. And then, oh, by the way, console players later will add the 60 frames per second. It was just weird. Here's 3 tiers of specs, but no indication of what the performance difference between any of them would be. And I mean, you don't go to Steam and see minimum and recommended, and they give you that. So it's not generally something that's on like a game's store page. But if you were going to tweet out an image with the different spec requirements, I would have expected some type of indication on what I can expect there.
Especially with 3 different specs given, because usually you get like the minimum and then the recommended. For what it's going to run best at. So to get 3 specs and no indication at all what those 3 specs are going to give you, I don't know. Unfortunately, it's a little par for the course for this game, and it like they've just not done a great job PR wise, advertising wise. This trailer is one of the best looking things they've put out. Their little character trailers. The first part where the characters talk and stuff is kind of interesting, but after that they get really boring really quick. So yeah. Unfortunately, it's a little par for the course for what they've been doing with this.
Yeah, Timbo James in chat saying, Q, that also concerned with no review or embargo date as well. Like, there was, what was it, like 2 weeks or so ago, there was some press outlets that were invited to come and play it, and then they were able to give some, like, preview article type stuff. And they weren't generally all that positive. Like, they weren't tearing the game apart, but they were just like, yeah, okay, And this is one game that I'm really nervous about. I love the concept. I love the look of it. Yeah, I'd like to be able to create my own character, but I understand narratively that's not their intention, kind of like what's going on with Wayfinder 2. I feel the same way there. But this is one that I'm like, man, you got me. You got me. Please don't suck. Please don't suck.
So Justin and I were talking about it yesterday because I showed him the trailer while I was writing up the piece. And so we're both looking at it, right? And it's like, okay, so it's single player, which means it's kind of, I can work around my whole motion sickness thing, because if it's single player, I can just stop playing.
You can go at your own pace.
Playing and go do my own stuff. But we were talking about the possibility of playing together and stuff. And then I was showing him the list of, the bite back pack and all of that. And when they started listing the extra characters, right, that you get later on, the seasonal characters or whatever, he's like, oh. He's like, yeah, now I'm not so sure about this because this is kind of giving me an idea of what kind of game it is, and I'm not sure I really want to deal with that from Bethesda. Like,
yeah.
and he's like, and maybe we should just wait on it because Bethesda. Like, wait till the players fix it.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how rocky most live service launches are to begin with, and then you add the fact that it's Bethesda doing another live service launch, and you do kind of have that, maybe we'll wait for the month one patch. maybe we'll just chill. And, Troy, to your point earlier, it's rocking that $70 price point.
Very, very expensive.
That's just for the base pack too, right? Like if you want the full thing, you're looking at $100. So
please don't suck.
I was looking at this like,
please don't suck.
Yeah,
that's all. Just, please don't suck.
At least I'm playing it on Game Pass. So
yeah. If there was one that I ever was like, oh, mercifully, it's day one available there, this has been it, I think. Like, there's obviously games that come out on Game Pass, and you're like, oh, cool, that's coming out on Game Pass day one. Nice. I don't have to spend $60 or $70. I'll get to play it for a little bit, and then if I want to buy it, I'll go ahead and buy it, and maybe even catch it on sale or something 6 months down the road. This is one that I was, like, super pumped about, and then was like, okay. Oh, you're on Game Pass. Thank God. Thank God. Because it would have been, like, I seriously, as much as I'm interested in it, I would have been, like, biting my lip. Should I pull the trigger on $70? And even 70 feels bad because, like, you're like, well, I really feel like I should get everything that's in the 100, you know. But, a good point by Magic Slinky, Bethesda didn't abandon Fallout 76, but it was also a Fallout title. Like,
exactly,
if this goes south, I don't know how long Arcane gets to fix it. It's kind of like looking at Marvel's Avengers, right? You know, it went south so fast that it really didn't matter what the studio wanted to do, what Platinum Games wanted to do. They probably weren't going to be given the time by Square Enix to do it. And I think Redfall could fall into that type of category, Troy, where Arcane might have, hey, this was not well received, let's go this route. But what's the clock look like behind the scenes? A comparison we've also made with New World. Amazon Games may have plans for fixing this, adding this, doing this, but how long was Amazon proper going to give them to do it? Mm-hmm. I'm still interested, though. I'll be playing it.
You guys can just tell me how it is, and then I can decide if I want to spend $70.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Man, even if it's like decent, I just feel like $70 for what is going to be a live service, like a fully live service style game, that's a big ask. That is a big ask.
Well, it's literally the reason that I ended up getting Game Pass was I got that offer in the email or whatever where you get the first month for $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the reason I signed up, I was like, Redfall's coming up. I need to go ahead and get signed up.
Yeah. I mean, because you can go ahead and spend 4 months of a $15 subscription and still not have spent $70.
Yeah.
True.
And get all the other games in the meantime.
And I've been playing some games on it since then. So.
Yup. Hey, news on the Throne and Liberty front. Now, again, this is kind of like, remember the investors queue that were saying, hey, this game's going to be delayed as if it were fact, but we never really heard anything from NCSoft or Amazon. This is still not directly from the horse's mouth, coming from NCSoft or Amazon, but it was reported to MTH Korean News via a source who claims they were citing internal NCSoft documents. So if you trust that sourcing, this is internal stuff. Just no official announcement. That Throne and Liberty, the upcoming MMORPG, is going to be targeting a closed beta coming up and an October simultaneous global release. Now, we expect specific dates to be announced in their Q1 earnings report, which literally should come out any day now. So maybe, they might push them out late today or later today. Who knows? So we should have official days there, but it does look like, even though we never got an official announcement on a release date, we did have a release window, and this October global simultaneous release indication, Troy, would seem to indicate that, yeah, they did delay the game internally, and the source says that it was, because they wanted to coordinate with Amazon on a global launch date, and this would give them more time to do that. And B, it was probably wiser to go ahead and get away from Diablo 4's launch.
Yeah, and it all makes sense. Even though it's not like official yet, it definitely makes sense for them to move away from the Diablo 4 launch date, as well as, like you said, coordinate with Amazon for the global release to get it all out at the same time, make it as good as possible. Because this is one of those games where I think it's going to live and die on the launch. If it's going to be good, then people are going to flock to it. If it's not, I think it's going to die a quick death.
Now, there are concerns inside the team from this source queue. Obviously, this is very Lineage inspired, right? There's multiple leaders on the team and team members that were heavily involved in Lineage, Lineage 2, and all the Lineage properties. At one point, this was just referred to as TL, the Lineage, the source claims, and was probably going to be Lineage 3. And then there were concerns inside that, maybe we shouldn't be overburdening new products with the Lineage name, which you can kind of see, right? Like if EverQuest just kept putting EverQuest on the name of things, then you damage the brand, right? If things aren't performing well. So let's kind of make this its own IP. But there are still concerns inside about some performance aspects of the game. They're saying the game's done. They really don't need any more physical time to improve perfection. But they are concerned that there might be some Lineage-like business models that end up getting tacked into this game that maybe some of the development team didn't anticipate or see as the correct approach for Throne and Liberty. And then we still don't have a final word on the whole like auto-pathing, auto-farming stuff, whether it's going to still be in there as was originally reported like a year ago. And then the team said, we may take that out. We're looking at it. But we still don't know the end result of that either. So it's not all cheerful, rosy on the Throne and Liberty front right now, but it's still super highly anticipated.
I mean, I guess it's one of those things, right? They just keep on working on things till they put it out, and what you get at the end may or may not be what you or even they expected, depending on like what executives or whatever tell them to do, or just in general. And of course, gamers, right, we see like a lot of things, we see so very little of something that we're like, oh, it's absolutely going to be this thing, and then when it comes out it's something else. But I mean, I don't know, like it's just also amorphous until it actually comes out and people get their hands on it anyway.
In quotes, sure to not age badly.
That's
CEO Taikjin Kim reportedly said in an early review session of Throne and Liberty, reportedly said that he had found the next Harry Potter, Troy.
Why would you do that
right?
to yourself? Why?
Found the next
that is a big statement.
That's huge. Like, you probably feel really good as a developer, right? And it seems like, okay, maybe he was just like internally saying, man, you guys have done really great. Like, I think this could be the next Harry Potter, and pumping some egos and stuff like that. But as the CEO, you got to think like that quote's going to escape at some time. And it's not going to age well. Like, no matter how good Throne and Liberty is, Troy, it ain't going to be the next Harry Potter. It just isn't.
I mean, the next Harry Potter is going to be Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
It's like, is this going to be the next the WoW killer? Well, then WoW 2.0 will be the WoW killer. Like, Don't you worry about it. Is Throne and Liberty, Troy, going to be the next Harry Potter?
Oh my
I couldn't
God,
even ask it
without laughing.
Like, does it involve a boy wizard? Like, why would you do that to yourself?
it's the next MMO coming out, so it's gonna have hype. It's gonna have excitement when it first comes out. Will it hold on to that? I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. Is it just even if it's a good game, it's probably just gonna die the next new MMO that comes out anyway. So the next Harry Potter, I'm afraid not.
That's bleak.
That is bleak.
Even if it's good, it'll die anyway.
Yeah, and remember, like, I still have concerns with the game from like the whole auto-pathing stuff I was talking about earlier. There's reportedly a mobile client of it and things like that. So, like, is this going to be like V4, just like a really, really beautiful looking V4? Because if so, I'm going to burn it down. Like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm checking out. But yeah, it looks like we're looking at an October release. You should see, if the source is correct, a beta coming up for Korea and Canada, America, and Mexico. Strangely, no European beta. So, I don't know. Yesterday, though, Omega Strikers launched, changing pace from shooters or MMORPGs and looking at, I don't even know what the hell to call this. Like,
an anime sports game?
It's like League of Legends and Rocket League, maybe? Like, like maybe that's an apt comparison. It is very MOBA in its control scheme, but it's a sports game. You take control of a character with specific abilities and use those abilities to smack a disc into a goal or take out your opposition and get them off the field while you try to score a goal. Games to 5, tons of different heroes to select from. You can unlock them through gameplay and all that typical MOBA type stuff. But just came out yesterday. I played it a little bit on the PC. Troy, I think you played it as well. What do you think of Omega Strikers here? Because this is another one where both of us were like, oh, I'm definitely trying this. I'm 100% trying this.
Yeah. I had fun last night playing this game. I had quite a good time playing this game. I played a lot of goalie with the big fat monkey. Whatever.
Yeah, let me just say this. So you could be a forward or a goalie. It's 3-on-3, 2 forwards, 1 goalie. Now, the goalie isn't technically or physically pinned to the goal arc.
Yeah.
You can certainly come out if you want to, but then you aren't doing your job. And one of the tool tips, by the way, is like, hey, if you get selected to play goalie, be a good teammate, damn it. Actually play goalie. You can queue as either forward, goalie, or flex. And flex will put you in either one, whatever the team needs, forward or goalie. Here's the thing. If you like playing goalie, pick goalie. If you really like playing goalie, pick flex. You will end up as the goalie.
Like, every time.
Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't just me.
No. I was picking flex because I didn't mind playing the goalie.
I didn't either.
But I didn't play anything but goalie. So, and I got through the bot matches.
Yeah.
And then I played probably 4 or 5 PvP matches. And I got selected as goalie every time.
Yeah, I had to. I was just queuing up as flex too. I had to force it to queue me as a forward once to beat the like whatever it was tier 2 missions, because it's one of those games where you're gonna go through like some basic missions, get a few prizes. Here's a second tier of basic missions, kind of teaching you everything, and then you'll unlock the shop and the season pass and all the other modes and all that fun stuff. It is stupid fun. Matches are quick. They are really quick.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I enjoy how fast they are. That way you're not tied down to a game for 15, 20 minutes. I mean, you're going to be in there for up to 5 minutes, probably 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a race to 5 goals, but you only have a minute for somebody to score. Then it goes into overtime, which really just starts, which they just showed on the screen now, which starts amping things up so it gets easier to take other players out. Like, they're forcing the action into a goal real quick. Different maps, different layouts, maybe some obstacles in the middle, things like that. Tons of different champs to choose from. It does have that typical, it is free to play, but it does have that typical battle pass feature. Again, you'll have to play a little bit to unlock it. And then a separate kind of like leveling up for rewards on each of the champions too. It's all like cosmetic stuff and things like that, but you are going to grind a bit for some of the cosmetics for your favorite character is what I'm saying. It was stupid. I'm going to stream it after the show today. That's going to be the game we're streaming. So if you want to jump in, Q, did you get a chance to check this out, or is this like just totally not a Q game?
This isn't really a Q game, but if I feel like if you're playing it and you're not playing the big hamster thingy, you're doing it wrong.
Yes, ma'am. He is my spirit animal.
Plenty of diversity on the characters too, and obviously there'll be more of those coming later. It's sports ball, so not a Q game. That's fair. That's fair. Chat knows you, Q. Chat knows you. Sports ball. This ain't Q. Let's talk about Tarisland a little bit as another upcoming game. So this is was it the MMO intended to replace World of Warcraft in China, but now it's going global. It's going global. And apparently this one's making some people angry. We talked about it on the show right before as, okay, man, like this is a real WoW clone. Like a real one. Like all three of us are MMO experienced enough to know when everything was called a WoW clone, right?
Yes.
Alad's Online, that's a tab target MMO, WoW clone. Runes of Magic, that's a WoW clone.
Rift,
WoW clone.
although Rift admitted it.
Yeah.
Try and admitted that Rift was a
like
WoW
it didn't.
clone.
There was a time where it didn't matter if you were a tab target MMO and you added 2 new massive systems like Rift and its whole class system. Didn't matter. WoW clone. WoW clone. I think the term doesn't apply to Tarisland because this is a WoW ripoff. Like it's just.
Well,
like go ahead, Q.
I mean, while I was writing about it, like visually, visually it is WoW ripoff. Like the characters are definitely the WoW characters, but the way that they're talking about the systems and stuff and everything, like I don't know how much of a WoW clone it is there necessarily. I feel like the entire visuals.
Dude. One of the trailers
environment
basically had Sylvanas Windrunner in it. Like,
but I'm saying character-wise, yes.
Yeah,
character-wise, like they literally went yoink, 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 and threw those characters in their game, right? But I feel like the mechanics and that stuff is where it ends up being a different game. Now, obviously, for copyright reasons, just stealing characters out of a game and throwing them in yours, no matter how different your game is, like as far as the back end mechanic stuff goes, is still pretty bad.
Remember, this is also going to be on mobile too, so it's going to come with all that fun stuff as far as limitations on a PC client because it's also running on a mobile client as well. So I Troy, it may be stupid to say, but I'm kind of excited about this just because I want to see what kind of firestorm it actually creates.
But so like,
you want to see just how big of a clone it actually is and shit it stirs up.
7 classes, which at least according to Reddit are gender and race locked.
Yeah.
And that, again, according to Reddit, so I don't know how accurate it is, right? But according to Reddit, it uses a hero system instead of customizable characters. Right? So that's already like...
Oh, so you can play as Sylvanas.
The global website is up. You can sign up for updates now. We have the links in the Tarisland piece on mmorpg.com if you want to. The site promising substantial PvE raids, as well as a season-style rollout of new content, kind of intended to keep the level gap among players from getting too big. Too big. So we'll see. It is cross-server and platform, so you can take your mobile with you and then jump on PC later. Hey, moving on, we've got a couple of new studios opening or kind of changing hands with some new projects. Troy, what's up first here? This one I think is kind of interesting.
Mr. Day 9, Sean Plott has founded his own game studio.
Gotta say, I did not see this one coming.
Yeah, it's a little surprising. But yeah, he said he's fully funding and they're hiring right now. So they're good to go and ready to crank out some games.
They said they're working on a multiplayer PC strategy game, and they're looking for a technical director and art director. Feel free to retweet, share, ping your buddies, or apply here. I've always liked Day 9. Like, I was never a huge Day 9 follower, just because his type of content, like I wasn't into Magic the Gathering at the time. He was pumping out a ton of Magic the Gathering content. I had taken a break from that game for many, many years. But I had always seen him in other things, and I did watch like him play Magic the Gathering with different celebrities, right? Like some of the Mythbusters crew and stuff like that, Grant Imahara and things. Like I always thought he was a entertaining dude. I did not see this coming. Like this would have been the what do you think Day 9's going to do next? Open a game studio was not on my list.
You know what though? Good for him. Like out of a lot of the popular YouTubers and stuff, and I think he's not as popular as others now, right? Because Day 9 was kind of for our age group, and like what a lot of people knew before, right, was StarCraft, like but. As far as I know, he's like one of, the YouTubers who's like, I've never heard anything really bad about him and his brother. Like, and they always seem like incredibly nice people. And this, Troy
left. Troy just pieced out. I guess his chair pieces came.
I gotta go fix the chair.
His chair pieces came and he's out.
But the type of game they're talking about doing, actually, like when you said, I was like, that actually sounds right in his wheelhouse, considering his history with StarCraft and all of that jazz.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So like a PC strategy game of some type.
But yeah, like Dana, good for him. He's doing something he likes. So. And he's a nice enough guy.
People never seem to know their lane. Just because you talk about games on YouTube doesn't mean you can make them. Yeah, and normally I would agree with you, but I think Day 9's one of those dudes that's smart enough to just be like, hey, I'm going to handle the running the business aspect of this. Like, because he's done that multiple times over the years. And just like, hey, let's get the artists, let's get this, let's get this, let's get this, and have those people do it. I feel like, and I don't know him personally, but I feel like everything I know about Day 9 just indicates he's smart enough, to not really start dabbling in things he doesn't know.
Yeah, and I mean, Day 9 too is one of those people who didn't just talk about games on YouTube, right? Like, he's been in and around the game industry. He's not some guy who just plays games and talks about them on YouTube. He's someone who's been in there, like getting, hanging out with developers, and he's very possibly learned how to do stuff. And you and I know, right, from working at Game Breaker and stuff, talking about games on YouTube is a great step into working in the video game industry and making games.
Just a bit. Hey, welcome back, Troy.
Yeah, I lost the internet for a second.
Welcome back. Didn't Reynad also start making a card game like Hearthstone? Yeah, The Bazaar. That's Tempo and Reynard's thing. Who else on the studio? Hang around with lawyers at work doesn't make you a lawyer. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it may be a catastrophic failure, but I kind of hope it's not. And isn't it weird, Q, like the day and age we live in, where like one of the things you had to bring up was like, that's not somebody I've heard negative things on the internet about.
I mean,
that is the era, right? It's like, I have no reports of that person touching other people. Like, it's just
like, yeah.
What a world.
Everything I've ever heard about Day 9 has been incredibly positive. So, like I said, good for him. If he wants to run a company, let him.
All right, Troy, don't leave. Tell us about the next acquisition /IP. Don't leave.
Well, Sony has acquired Firewalk Studios, is working on a new multiplayer IP that's currently in development.
Huh. So Sony, that company, really, really mad about another company acquiring companies, acquires the 20th game company into its lineup.
I was going to say, how come this isn't like going to meetings all around the world and having the government involved and telling them they can and can't do something. Why
I mean,
why do they get to
obviously,
Firewalk
acquire companies?
Studios is not Activision.
right. I mean, obviously, we're being a little facetious there. Firewalk is a smaller indie studio, not Activision Blizzard, but still, this is
They're the next
20th.
Activision. Damn
This
it.
is the 20th company to be brought under the PlayStation umbrella. The interesting part about this is they've been actually working, from what I know, on a multiplayer IP that has never actually been announced, but they've been working on it with probably Monsters, that company. That was their like former name, and they've been working on it since like 2018. We haven't heard boo about it, and now Sony picks them up. Here's the interesting thing. You got to feel kind of positive about whatever product they're working on, Q, for Sony to have picked you up based on an IP you've been working on that's unannounced since 2018, and then compound that with the fact that you've never released a game. Like, this wasn't Sony looking at a studio that has a pedigree of 5 great games. They're working on a multiplayer one, and you want that thing for your library. This was, all we have to look at is the IP that's not announced that you've been working on for 5 years, because you don't have anything before that.
Okay, weird question here. Is this company working on back-end stuff that Sony might have actually looked at and went, we can use that in other places if we just buy them and lay everybody off and keep the work they did?
Right, but if it was back-end stuff, I feel like they would have gotten that off of Bungie. That was literally what they said was the primary impetus for wanting to buy Bungie. Was, yeah, they know how to do multiplayer live service games, and we want to get into live service, but they wanted that community management, back-end multiplayer experience and expertise that Bungie has, totally independent of Destiny 2. I don't think you need a small indie company for that type of stuff if you've just bought Bungie. Like, I don't know.
Well, I was meaning if they were coming up with something that was insanely unique or, revolutionary that we just don't know about.
Maybe.
And then they're like, okay, we'll just gobble up this little indie company and keep this, really impressive thing that they did.
I have a revolutionary idea. I think PlayStation should gobble me up.
Whoa, hey, whoa, buddy, whoa. Whoa, at least take it to dinner first. Damn.
I'll take getting gobbled up by Sony.
On that note,
are we done?
Yeah. Oh, we're done. Show's over. Since you really, how do you come back from that? I have no idea. You just move on is what you do. And we're going to move on to a few quick news hits before we go over to the weekly bombs in kind of like an interesting news roundup fashion. Troy, I got to see what you think about this. Unexpectedly, and I say unexpectedly because I didn't expect it, just a few weeks ago, we had talked about the UK's authorities looking at the Activision Blizzard deal and saying, hey, we're going to pare back the portions that we're actually looking at. And that all seemed like, okay, they're just like days away from approving this thing. They actually declined it. They said no. And they kind of threw away Sony's Call of Duty concerns. Those weren't really an impetus in the decision, but they really cited cloud gaming as being particularly impacted here in how big Microsoft already is in cloud gaming, the fact that they thought Activision Blizzard would obviously have become a cloud gaming competitor if they were left to their own devices and not absorbed by Microsoft, and that could influence some tech going and competition going forward. And to allow this merger to go through would have resulted in, you've made concessions and 10-year contracts and all of that stuff, but it would result in more oversight to make sure that all of those contracts were executed. And it really just felt to Q and I as if they were just saying like, hey, we know you'd want to make these 10-year concessions, but we'd actually have to be the ones that enforce them, and we don't want the extra work. So we're going to go ahead and say no.
So
now, obviously,
find an excuse to say no.
Yeah, obviously, Microsoft is going to appeal. Their attorneys and some of their spokespeople were like, this is a dark day for gaming and free markets in the UK. And it will be appealed. And like they went so far as to almost threaten. They were like, hey, we're going to reevaluate our business strategies in the UK. Kind of like, hey, approve this or we're leaving. So it is a weird situation. It'll be appealed. Michael Pachter and other industry analysts and myself still think this ends up going through in the UK. But were you surprised to see the initial decision?
Yeah, definitely surprised to see the decision against it. I've thought that this was going through. Uh, I didn't even think that these hearings and stuff are really speed bumps. I just thought they were just due process, and that this would just cruise on through to the end, and eventually everybody would realize, no, there's not really a real reason to hold this back. But especially for it to be cloud gaming, like that's the one. The for that to be the reason why one of the things they focused on for the reason why, that's really surprising to me. I don't think they realize how overall insignificant cloud gaming is in the gaming environment these days.
See, I don't know. I would actually argue the opposite. Like, it is fair for them to look at it because it is going to get bigger and bigger. And Activision just released their Q1 financials Q. And we wrote about them on the site. You can check them out. Long story short, they're making a lot more money this Q1 than last Q1, but they're down in monthly active users. So the people that are staying are buying more stuff. Obviously, Diablo 4 is just going to explode their next quarter. I actually think that comes out in June, right? Yeah. So that'll be a end of Q2 bump for them. But if you look at those financials, there were pretty big splits on revenue down in these areas and way up on mobile and cloud gaming sides.
So I think like the mobile absolutely. This is another thing that Justin and I were talking about, and he was looking at the 60-70% that they listed on cloud gaming, like that they own somewhere between 60 and 70% already.
Microsoft does, yeah.
Right, Microsoft. And we're trying to like figure out exactly is it possible that they're using cloud gaming in a slightly different way than we use cloud gaming? Like if they're using it to refer to stuff like Game Pass and stuff like that instead of like GeForce Now, because I don't really think of Microsoft when I think of cloud gaming, right? Like I think of GeForce Now, and I think of used to think of Stadia, right? And then all the other companies that attempted something similar over time and also died. But so like we're looking at that, and yes, it is a growing area, but it's one of those areas that's going to end up hitting kind of a bump, I think, just because again, infrastructure does in a lot of places does not support that kind of activity. But so we were looking at that and trying to figure it out, but it also came down to, at the end they were like, the Activision would eventually get into the cloud gaming market, and they listed Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft as their things. And it's like, okay, so this is kind of a Call of Duty issue. Is like, but I don't know. It was a little weird to me that that was their absolute focus.
Well, but I can see them looking at that though, right? Because Game Pass itself does have a cloud gaming option, right? They have the Game Pass for console, PC, or cloud, and you can buy obviously like the ultimate membership and get all of them. So right. I don't think it's unfair that they looked at. Yeah, no, that's fair. But I do think it's fair that they look at that as because you're offering that service right now.
So they might, if that's the case, and they're offering the service, I guess that they're saying, well, they have 60 to 70% of the market ostensibly because people might use the cloud gaming portion of Game Pass, even though they've got PC.
I haven't. I've never once used it.
Right. And so it's like you do not think of Microsoft and cloud gaming really. Like it's there, it's offered, it's whatever. But I think it's a lot to say that it's 60 to 70% of the market. Like
Troy, this ultimately goes through though, right?
I think so.
I mean, we're still waiting for the FTC's decisions on our side. They're putting up challenges of their own, but this still goes through. Somebody, I forget who it was, somebody was asking me, well, like, do they need to have this approval? And the technical answer is no. But if you don't have the approval, then you can't operate in that country anymore. Like, if you become Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft, or Microsoft ActiBliz, like whatever the hell you want to call it, then that company is not authorized to operate in the UK, which is obviously bad for all parties involved. That's why you have these kind of negotiations back and forth to get yourself approved. And that's what Microsoft was trying to do with the 10-year deals on Call of Duty and things like that. Now, the argument is going to be, is this decision legal? And that's where Activision and Microsoft, well, predominantly Microsoft with Activision support, of course, is going to challenge this on appeals. So Microsoft, obviously, remember, stands to lose a lot of money if... well, relatively speaking, a lot of money should the deal not go through. There is a payout to Activision Blizzard if the deal fails to the tune of $2 billion. So, there's vested interest not only in just making sure you get them acquired, but not wanting to pay $2.27 billion in termination fees is also a strong motivator.
Chump change, just chump change.
Just chump. I mean, it is Microsoft, so it basically is chump change, but whatever. What's going on with the Sega of America workers, Q?
I basically have more unions coming up.
Yay.
So the Sega, and I love what Matthew put at the beginning of his article. You need to be true to yourself, Sonic the Hedgehog 2020. So Sonic is now the new face of unions in the gaming industry, I guess. Kind of like, oh God, what's the cat's name on Twitter? Jorts. Kind of like Jorts the cat.
144 employees. 144. That would be like the largest gaming union so far. 144 employees across I'm sorry, in America, not ever. not ever.
Pretty sure there's a lot more employees in Sega than that.
Yeah, need to be a little more specific. The largest gaming union. They're teaming up with CWA, which is what most of them are doing, and that'll go to their whole what's it called? Brain lapse. Representation election. Yes, there it is. With the National Labor Relations Board. And then if it's approved, it'd be the largest one in the American video game industry. So that's interesting. Good luck to them. Dark and Darker. We have talked about Dark and Darker ad nauseum on this show.
Yes.
And I just wanted to bring up, not the whole ordeal. We've already expressed thoughts on that. But they're now appealing to Steam to get their game put back on Steam. And I'm not sure what the hell they expect to get out of this.
Well, especially since Valve has already said, we're not going to do anything until these court cases are resolved.
They can't.
But now they're asking for the game to come back, even though the court cases are not resolved.
But there was a DMCA claim made. Yeah. Valve has to just say, yeah, okay, you guys, DMCA claim honored. That is my responsibility as the platform. We're taking it down. Go, you two, settle your shit, live in peace, come on back, let me know the result. Like, what do they actually want Steam to do here? Say, oh, yeah, we're going to defy the DMCA because you are so awesome.
We're going to defy a DMCA put in by a company that is much bigger than yours.
So weird.
We're just totally going to piss off Nexon. It'll be fine.
Like, it doesn't even matter the size of the companies. Steam received a DMCA. By law, this is what they have to do. If you want your safe harbor status, which all these distribution platforms and YouTubes and all that stuff do, particularly in the United States, when you get those DMCAs, you take it down and you say, go settle it and let me know.
And I mean, the thing is Steam is more than happy to let you list your games on their site and let them make money off of your games and everything else. Like, they're not purposely punishing you but and I mean, there's some questionable games on Steam, right? But they're not purposely punishing you as a developer, publisher, whatever. They're just going, it's business. This is business, and unfortunately, we gotta abide by the rules and shit. And I don't know, maybe you shouldn't have pissed off Nexon. Like,
the letter to Valve said, Nexon claims to have created unique concepts, genre, plot, storyline, characters, and plans for the game, almost none of which is subject to copyright protection. While the actual expression of plot, storyline, and characters certainly may be protectable, copyright doesn't protect concepts. It's not a concept.
That's also something that's up to like a court to decide.
And of course, this is going to be settled probably first in South Korea, and we're not exactly the most copyright law proficient people when it comes to South Korea. But Nexon didn't cancel this game. People keep saying that. They didn't cancel this game. They had to put it on hiatus because two of the leaders behind the project just bounced and took half the team with them. And by the way, just miraculously spun up a very similar, almost arguably in a court of law identical game and concept and design in 10 months. Because they didn't have... Nexon didn't cancel this, so you can absolutely protect that.
Isn't it standard practice as well that when you are working for a large company that creates things and you're creating things, unless you have like some sort of special dispensation to do it?
Yeah, it's theirs.
Like when you create stuff as an employee of theirs, it belongs to them. It doesn't matter copyright protection or whatever else. When you create it under their roof, it belongs to them.
Look,
and it's one of those things that seems unfair, but it's just the fucking law.
I am all for smaller developer going up against big guy. All for it. Like Nexon, big meanie, Dark and Darker devs, small David versus Goliath. I'm all for it. I love it. Dark and Darker, the game itself. That's one that I sent to Troy months ago, before it was ever like really in the news for anything. And I was like, hey, you got to try this. Maybe do this on your stream. This is kind of interesting. It's kind of fun. It's a little wonky right now, but yeah. And I've had a lot of fun. I want the game to come out, and I want the devs to be successful if it's able to come out too. But you can't just look at this in the vacuum and say, oh, Nexon's beating up on... No. There is... I mean... hey, that art asset looks similar. Okay, let's argue it. It isn't just that. It's the concept of the game from top to bottom, and all of these similarities, and the fact that things were stored on outside servers without Nexon's knowledge, and this... And, I mean, when you look at it in its totality, it doesn't look good. They are absolutely entitled to litigate it. I'm not saying Nexon's going to win, nor should they win. I don't have a dog in the race. And I want Dark and Darker to come out and be a good game. But you cannot look at everything in the totality of the situation and just say, this is big company beating up on small company. It just isn't, and you can't get Steam to do anything.
So the thing about David and Goliath is that David beat Goliath because he was smart. And they're just not being smart.
Yep. Hey, Troy.
Yeah.
The day before. Remember that?
The who?
Remember that?
Who win?
The day before what?
They promise that the game is going to come back to Steam and will launch on time later this year. And that a beta is coming.
It's a lot of promises.
Lord.
That is a lot of promises.
Are they going to torrent it?
PC Games N, like they had to for their last. That's what Dark and Darker had to do for their last test. Actually, PC.
That's the new thing to do. Is when you're down, you just torrent your betas.
Yep. PC Games N reports that an admin name Contain posted the following on the official The Day Before Discord server. We understand that many of you have been eagerly waiting the release of the game, and we want to thank you for your patience and support through the development process. We've been working hard to ensure that the game meets our high standards, and we're confident that it will be worth the wait. As we get closer to the release date, we will be conducting a beta test for the game. Well, that'll be nice. People normally do that. This will give players the opportunity to try out the game before it's released and provide valuable feedback that we can use to improve the final product. And they go on to say that it should be on Steam and that launch date is November 10th without further delay. Are you, you seem, with that mug of yours, Troy, to be a little dubious.
I'm a little dubious about anything that this game does and says at this point. Man, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
And in final news, new courts or appeals courts upheld the previous Apple and Epic verdict, giving Apple wins on basically 9 out of 10 counts. So Apple is by all means doing their victory lap at the moment. Let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. Yeah, chat. I don't understand why you're so down on it. Eagerly awaiting the day before. Eagerly awaiting. Hey, I got to give a dub bomb to Omega Strikers. I thought it would be fun and cute and interesting. It's a lot more fun than I thought. I don't know how long I'll actually play it, though. Like, I don't think it's going to draw me in the way Rocket League did. But I can see myself enjoying this for a little bit, unlocking some characters, messing with different abilities. It is fun. It is absolutely fun. So I got to give the team at Omega Strikers a dub bomb. You've created something really, really fun and that I enjoy. I just don't know how long it sits on my gaming palette. That's what I'm not sure about yet. Go ahead, Q.
I'm going to give an A-bomb to PayPal.
Oh, yeah.
For locking my account 2 days before I was supposed to get paid and then sitting on it for 3 weeks because apparently there's something about my industry that was just really hard for them to figure out and deal with.
Your industry? Like, as
that
in
was
journalism?
What they told me at the end. That was what they told me at the end. And I was like, I write for video game sites. I'm basically a glorified blogger. And they're like, yeah, but and I don't know. Like 3 weeks. And hilariously, you find out when they do that, like you get in your app, it'll tell you like 3 days or something like that. In the website, it tells you 5 days. I think the longest point is 7 days. And I started messaging them continuously. And they're like, oh yeah, it'll just be a couple more days or whatever. And one guy had the audacity to tell me to sit back, relax, and let them worry about it.
My money, fool.
Yeah, because when people are upset, the one surefire way to get somebody to calm down in an upset situation is to tell them to calm down.
Well, I was totally polite until like the very last message I sent them. Like I was polite the entire time. I'm like, I'm just checking up on this. No. It took me going, all right, this is a problem. It's freaking ridiculous. Like,
she's polite in all these texts and the messages, and the last one is, "The fuck you say?" Go ahead, Troy.
I'm also giving a dub bomb to Omega Strikers. I had a great time in the game last night, checking it out on launch. I'm gonna give it the opportunity to sit on my computer and see if it brings me in, see if it keeps me interested in the game. But I've been having a lot of fun in it. I'm gonna play it some more again tonight. So, dub bomb to Omega Strikers.
In chat, Terra Nova saying, "Da bomb to Honkai Star Rail. What I've played so far, I'm liking a lot, even more than Genshin Impact. It's the turn-based gameplay that Star Rail uses that I'm liking more. Nice to see a return to that type of gameplay over real-time action-based." Yeah, I mean, it's doing very wonderful right now, and we kind of expected it to. We obviously don't cover it because it's not multiplayer. If we were still a free-to-play site, we would. That's kind of why we still cover Genshin, because it's a holdover from free-to-play, but we had to tell Hoyoverse, we were like, we're not going to cover Star Rail, and here's why. And here's why we still cover Genshin. And they were like, oh, okay, no problem.
They basically just still cover Genshin to appease me.
Yeah, that too.
Really
Decal2399 says, "Da bomb the draft weekend. It's my favorite event of the year that includes Final Fantasy XIV expansion launches, Christmas, or whatever else. Nothing else beats it." And I think Decal actually has another one in here too. From YouTube and mmobomb.com. Remember, leave your weekly bombs. And yeah, I brought the stupid question of the week back. Stop emailing me. God damn it. Leave me a bomb. You didn't leave me a bomb, but you email me about the stupid question of the week. Leave me bombs and answer the question of the week. There's one today. Thoverisk says, A-bomb to no more question of the week. At least Thoverisk put it on YouTube, right? Like, at least he put it on YouTube as a comment. He didn't email it to me. Though I don't always answer because the subject may not be in my basket of games I play, I like to hear the responses from others. I keep wishing I could get into Elder Scrolls Online. Maybe I picked the wrong class. Spellcasting DK feels good, though. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't hit me right. It is one of those games, I will give it that it either hits you or it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with if you're okay with the floatiness of the combat. Like, it does feel floaty when you're in third person jumping and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead, Q. Take the next one.
Misfit. This is just a brilliant strategy of pissing off the gaming industry so that Take-Two Interactive will go after Rockstar Energy.
Yeah, so that's in relation to Monster Energy going after video games. And speculation there from Misfit is that just, hey, this is to get Take-Two Rockstar, right? And Rockstar Energy fighting so that Monster Energy can capitalize on it. In chat, Timbo James says, A-bomb to V Rising, making me wiping servers and waiting for the update. That's right, Gloomrot just around the corner. Timbo also giving a dub-bomb to V Rising update. Can't wait for it. Go ahead, Troy.
Chirac says, dub-bomb to Warframe's new update, holding off till the weekend to dive in. And dub-bomb to Jedi Survivor for providing Mike more ammo for Steam reviews.
Yeah, I haven't read any of the Steam reviews yet. I think I watched one or two content creator videos on it. I absolutely will check those Steam reviews out. I absolutely will. And Daviri Paradox live. Enjoy. Ninja Pandas dub-bombed for my 32nd birthday. A-bomb to getting older. Oh, right. An A-bomb at the UK government people for being dumb about the whole Microsoft thing. Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Q.
Raging Alcoholic. Dub-bombs CMA blocking the sale of Activision Blizzard to Microsoft in the name of protecting cloud gaming. Who gives that way? So I think that's supposed to be an A-bomb.
No, who games that way? Oh, yeah.
I think that's supposed to be an A-bomb.
Yep.
Dub-bomb to Warcraft actually pushing tons of updates to their Warcraft community. No key to me, please. Not interested in the game. LOL. I'm guessing that was
probably the giveaway earlier. Yeah. Go ahead, Troy.
Takal says, A-bomb to all teams that thought it was a good idea to let the Eagles get Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. They are literally just reassembling the Georgia Bulldogs defense in the pros.
Rebuilding it in the NFL. Magic Slinky saying A-bomb to PC ports being incredibly bad lately. It's nuts. Hey, Final Fantasy 16 is coming soon. I'm sure that'll go smoothly. Square Enix has just a fine pedigree when it comes to PC ports of games. Your question of the week this week: are MMOs just too easy these days, or do they have to be to stay relevant? I bring this up because I can't talk about what game we're playing, but we're cooking a first look that has an embargo date of sometime next week. So there will be a first look for an MMORPG up. But let's just say it's a little more old school in some of its systems. And so when processing, Matthew and I doing the first look and stuff, we were like, yeah, it's just like MMOs these days are really, really easy when you look back at stuff like this or stuff in this design mold. So are they too easy for you today, or do they kind of have to be to stay relevant? Let us know your thoughts on the difficulty in MMORPGs in the comments below. Don't forget your weekly bombs. Dub-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad in the world of gaming. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the Always Online podcast. Until then, Troy, where can everybody find you?
I am on the socials at the Noob Fridge.
No, don't email the answers to me raging. Damn it. Answer them on YouTube or on the site. That's what pays the bills. My email doesn't pay the damn bills. Go ahead, Q.
You can find me on Twitter at Quitland, probably yelling at Good Omens Prime right now.
I thought you were going to say probably yelling at clouds. Just like, you can find me on Twitter just yelling at clouds.
We're busy yelling at Good Omens Prime at the moment.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb. That way, you'll know every time we go live with a podcast stream, put up a giveaway, a first look video, news articles, interviews, and more. Until next time, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.